So imagine you're looking for an electric little city runabout and you've landed on one of these two options I have here behind me. This is the Dacia Spring and this is the Leapmotor T03. On paper, they're basically the same car, but in reality, they're quite different. So in this car, we're going to try them in the city. We're going to check out the interior, the exterior, and then I'm going to tell you which one of these two you should have a closer look at. This is the face-off between the Dacia Spring and the Leapmotor T03. Welcome to Totally Electric, where we test drive electric cars and talk about sustainable mobility. And today we're doing a face-off between these two little city cars, economic city cars, and on paper they're almost the same car. Listen to this. Price 18,890, 18,900. 10 euros of difference. Range 228 kilometer with a battery of 26.8 kilowatt hours, and this one over here has got 265 kilometers with a battery of 36 kilowatt hours. Slightly bigger battery, slightly more range, slightly more efficient. Size wise, 3.70 meters, 3.60 meters, but this one is a bit wider, 1.65 meter wide, where this one is 1.58 meter. Height wise, 1.51 meter, 1.57 meter. They're both front wheel drive. They both take about 13 seconds to get from 0 to 100. They're both 5 doors, 4 seats. The Dacia weighs 1,059 kilos and the Leapmotor is a little bit heavier, 1,250 kilos. But overall, these two cars serve exactly the same purpose. So which one should you choose? Well, before we go into those details, let me just talk about charging them. So charging is a bit funny on these two cars. Both of them have the charge port in the front and they charge at 6.6 kilowatt on AC. This one charges at 34 kilowatts on DC and this one charges at 48. However, this one has a slightly bigger battery and is slightly less efficient. So in terms of kilometers per minute charged, it's probably going to be about the same. Let me get back to the 6.6 kilowatts though. That is on a single phase charger. These cars do not have a 3-phase charger. So if you're charging at a charging point with 11 kilowatts, you're only going to get a third of that speed. A third of 11 kilowatts means that you'll be charging at 3.4 kilowatts. That's basically the same as charging them on a regular outlet. So just be sure that you have enough power on a single phase to charge these cars. Probably shouldn't be a problem, but just to be sure. The liftgate is of course manual. We are after all talking about the cheapest segment available. In this car we got 210 liters of available space. In the Dacia Spring we got a little bit more. If we open up we get 228. Now this difference is because the Dacia Spring is slightly longer. However, look at the width of this thing, and now let's compare that to the Leapmotor. You see, though, on paper, the space is quite similar. The opening here is extremely narrow, and the charging cables here, they fill up like a third of the boot space. Let's have a look at the exterior design of these two cars. Let's start with the Dacia. Now, they've given it to me in this brownish color to really make it look attractive is not quite the word I would like to use. However, in the front we see a map of some kind of city street here. That is actually just a sticker they've put on there, so if you get a little bumper contact with another car and it get a scratch, you can just substitute it for a different sticker. You get the charge port here in front and you get the Dacia logo here. That's actually quite nice and well integrated. Lighting is quite modern, quite sharp on this one. From the side, 15-inch rims, and honestly, they look ridiculously small on this car. Look here, in the back, the wheel arches are painted black above just to make them even bigger. And this car looks like it's on stilts in the back. Put some bigger wheels on this one, come on. Get Spring written up here. You can see it from some angles, but not all. And then in the back, you get the same city map drawn on there with the Dacia logo here on the back. And if you open it up, sorry, but it's going to be full of my camera gear. The space from the front of the boot to the end of it where the seat starts is actually quite big. You could fit a suitcase or something like that in here. Now, later on, compare that to the T03. I like the lights. They're also very much in the Dacia style. And there's actually some two-tone thing going on here. Look, have a look at this brownish color of the paint job, but then compare that to this. I'm not sure you can appreciate it really here in the video, but this is sort of like a copper and this is sort of a dirt brown. Now comparing that with the Leapmotor is more of a cutie design, right? It's all round and friendly, non-aggressive. Again, we've got 15-inch wheels on the thing, but they don't look out of place. They look better proportioned because the wheel arches aren't huge or painted extra huge or with the black plastic on top of it. Here it's just a little bit better proportioned, right? If we come around the back, I just like that they put this in red paint. It's not really red, it's more sort of a orangey red or something. And if we open up the boot or the trunk, if you're from over there, you probably aren't, the space in here is quite a lot smaller. Now on paper, there's not that much difference in liters, but if you compare it, it means that the space from here to there is quite a lot smaller, so it'll be difficult to fit a suitcase in here, but it is deeper. So they get to a similar amount of liters because it's deeper, not as practical as in the Spring though. As I mentioned before, the opening from here to there is quite narrow. Slunk. Not really much of a BMW feel there, is there? Side profile. It's nice. So the Leapmotor has more of a friendly design and the Dacia more of a, should I call it aggressive? I'm not really sure. Which one looks the best? Let me know down below. Let's check out the interior space. I'm 1.90 m, 6'4". First, in the front, if I'm sitting here, I've adjusted the seat, so I've just got enough space here for safety, but no more. Now let's see how well I fit in the back. Now it's hard to get in. Careful with your head. Honestly, I don't fit in the back. I have to open my legs, so there's one on each side of the seat, and the seat is quite wide, so now I won't be able to shut the door. If you're 1.90 m, you'll only go in the front row. I can't fit in here. Also, the roofline is quite low and my head is actually touching it. There's no way for me to scoot down or in any way, shape or form travel in the back of this car. Okay, let's see how I fit in the Leapmotor T03. So again, I've adjusted the seat, so I just have barely enough room for my legs. Let's go sit in the back. Oh, by the way, plenty of headroom. I mean, a lot. Okay, in the back. Come on, come on. Surprise! Check this out. I kind of fit. I mean, my legs are here. I've got no extra room, but they're there. It's fine. I've got plenty of headroom as well. I don't want to do 500 kilometers in this car here in the back, but I could certainly, you know, go shopping or a short distance. It's incredible that this car is 10 centimeters shorter than the Dacia Spring and still 1.90 m and I fit in the back. And now it's time to drive them. Let's see what life is like on board the cheapest EVs you can buy. Let's start off with the Dacia Spring. All right, so inside the Dacia Spring, extremely cheap materials everywhere. Just, you know, the toughest of plastics, cheapest of seats. I mean, these non-woven, they're not even fabric. I don't even know what it is. Got space, somewhat. Yeah, I can fit. It's not too wide though. If I had another guy sitting next to me who was about my size, we'd be rubbing our shoulders here together. And then there's this bit here, a key that you have to insert and turn to turn on the car. Welcome to 2025. Oh, I've also got this handbrake. Good old-fashioned handbrake. Haven't seen one of those in years. Gears are changed down here. I've got D and B, so I've got some kind of retention going on as well. Then I've got the aircon system here. I've got 2 USB-C ports, and I've got a relatively big screen here, which is quite nice. It's even got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and I don't need to plug in my car in order to use it. That is nice, and I've got a relatively big screen here in the front as well. Visibility is good. Let's go. I've reset the trip computer here in the Dacia. I've got 89% battery left, which the car says is the same as 183 kilometers of range. I'm going to be driving city driving. I'm not going to do a highway range test. It makes no sense with this kind of car. If you're buying this kind of car thinking that you'll be driving on the highway, you're buying the wrong car. I really like the fact that there is Apple CarPlay and I don't have to plug in my phone in order to use it. However, I'm not quite sure what to do with my phone. There's sort of like no obvious space for it. I can maybe throw it down here, maybe like in there, right? I don't know, it seems like there's no place to put stuff here. I mean, there's space, but there's no cup holders. There's no, you know, phone location or anything like that. So let's just do it like that and let's go for a drive. Oh my God, I just turned on the rear view camera by putting it into reverse. And my God, the quality of this camera is absolutely appalling. I'm a kid of the 80s. I had a Commodore 64. It had better graphics than this rear view camera. Oh my God. Okay, let's go. I've got 2 gears to select from. I got B, which will help me brake using the motor and recover some energy, or I've got D, and I can use this little gear shifter here to switch between them. Let's see if there's any acceleration in this little fellow. Yeah, it's got some pickup. It's all right. For city driving, even with only 65 horsepower, there's a plenty. Right, so if I put it in B, it's supposed to slow down. Yes, and it does. Very nicely so, actually. Right now, I'm driving quite a lot downhill, and it's been slowing down. I'll get to about 10 kilometers an hour, about 6 miles per hour, and then it just keeps going, and I do have to apply the brakes in order for it to stop. But hey, not bad. Oh, look at this. The Dacia Spring has got a navigation app here, and so I've got a GPS system on board. Let's try it out. It says it's called Here, and of course it says something went wrong. The Here was not recognized by the service provider. Whatever that means, it don't work. Doesn't matter. We've got Apple CarPlay, so I guess that's what I'm going to use. So let's see what driving the Dacia Spring is like. I'm gonna do like, just put my foot down. You know what? Oh, a little bit of wheel spin there. Now, this car is super narrow, so when I do like this, it jiggles, it jiggles. Oh my God. Jiggles more than Shakira. All right. It is quite fun to, quite a lot of fun to drive. It feels like I'm driving a little cart around here. It's tiny and nippy, so I can fit it into any space if I want to. Stability is non-existent. Comfort is low. Materials, ride quality is the poorest you can possibly think of. I mean, it does put a smile on your face though, doesn't it? Let's see, have we got any stopping power? Just gonna accelerate a bit here and apply the brakes. Let's go. I'm at 60. Ooh, that was a strange sensation. That was really weird. Well, it stopped. The ABS kicked in. Yeah, not unhappy with it, but sort of felt like it slid a bit forward. Anyway, driving experience. Yeah, you can tell it's the cheapest car available. Driver assistance feature. I've got speed limiter, so I don't get ticketed because I'm in a super fast car. And I also have a cruise control. Not adaptive cruise control, just cruise control. Set a speed, it'll stick to it. That's it. I guess it's okay. We've also got sort of safety features, so if you step on the line or drive a little bit outside the line, it'll help you. If you're going too fast, it'll beep at you. All those things that are mandatory nowadays in modern cars. We're done driving the Dacia Spring. Let's check out what the range on this thing is. I've been doing 11.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and I've done a round trip of about 30 kilometers. Mixed city driving. I'm now at 74% battery, so let me just take out my calculator here. So on 30 kilometers, spend 15% of the battery, means I get a total range of exactly 200 kilometers. Right, we've driven the Spring. Now let's try the Leapmotor T03. Right, so let's get into the T03. Now, the first thing that I notice is that the steering wheel is quite low, and it's as far up as it will go. Even so, there's not a lot of space beneath it. My knees are literally touching the steering wheel unless I sit like wide open. Not very comfortable, to be honest. The ergonomics of this car aren't as good as in the Dacia Spring. I'm quite far away from the steering wheel. You know, I would rather be like this up here, but then I'd have to scoot the seat forward, and then my knees are going to touch the steering wheel. I can't drive like that. So if I have to be far enough back, that's actually as far back as the seat will go, that won't go any further, and I'd have to put the backrest up a little bit in order to be at a comfortable distance to the steering wheel. Now this is good, but now I'm sitting very upright, and this will be hard on my back. So yeah, ergonomics for a big guy at least, not as good as in the Dacia Spring. There's also this funny screen down here. Now it's all the way down and next to my knee. Usually they'd be up high, but here they're below the air vents that are coming out of the dashboard. Also, being down there, it's also angled upwards, so actually I see a lot of light reflecting. I can see more windows and glass roof than I can actually see information on this very screen. Not the greatest of ergonomics, to be honest, and the steering wheel is even covering, from my point of view, about a fourth of the screen, maybe a fifth. I have another screen behind the steering wheel, and that one, on the other hand, is absolutely very clearly visible, and it's even got a little shade on top of it. Now, one thing I really have to put my foot down on here is the quality of this car. In the inside of this car is just a completely different story from the Dacia Spring. This looks like a quality product. The materials are 10 times nicer. Just listen to this door. Thunk. Right? Let's do that again. That's what a car door should sound like, not which is what the Dacia Spring sounds like. Got a massive glass roof, and I can even cover it up if it's too hot here. It might not be too hot in the UK, where you might be watching this from, but I live in Spain, and we've got a thing here called the sun. It's what's above the clouds, and sometimes you need to cover it up not to burn your head. I've got cup holders. I've got a place for my mobile phone to be sitting. This whole thing is much better. It's just a whole different league from the Dacia Spring. Now, let's see how well it actually drives, and let's see how far you can go. I'm going to see if I can reset the trip computer, and let's do the same route as we did in the Dacia Spring. Do you hear that? The artificial engine noise in this car sounds like a scared ghost. Oh, oh, oh. And if you go a little bit faster, it goes. Oh. Sounds quite funny, to be honest. Now, I've set this on regen braking automatic thingy, so if I let go of the accelerator, yes, it will actually brake, and if it's flat, it will come to a complete stop. Yeah, very good Leapmotor. I like that. One pedal driving. All right. Now, I've set it to eco mode, and I'm gonna have to leave it there because that is the default mode the car starts with. So every time you get into the car and you turn it on, it'll be in eco. So I guess that's what we'll be doing right now. The Dacia Spring did not have eco and sport mode, it just had D and B. Oh, by the way, the ba-ding, ga-dong, ga-dong that you're hearing, those are the warnings because I'm going too fast according to the car. Not though, it just read a speed sign wrong before. I am in a slightly uncomfortable position. You can see that I'm sort of leaning forward, not actually touching the back seat, because if not, I'm like driving with my arms stretched out, and otherwise I'm sitting up too straight. Not the most comfortable thing. Anyway, we have much more advanced driver assistance features here. I've actually got, what is this? Let's turn it on. Active cruise control. All right, let's do that. I'm using the active cruise control. I wonder, do I even have, no, I don't have lane keeping. I have lane assist, so if I step out of the lane, it'll push me back in. But this is automatic, or, yeah, you see, that ding ding is because I stepped on it. So yeah, we've got automatic or active cruise control, so I don't actually have to adjust it or turn it off if there's some traffic up ahead. It'll adjust the speed automatically. Good. Now there's no button to turn it off. I have to actually put my foot on the brake. That's funny. So now it's on. I want to turn it off. Hit the same button again. That doesn't do it. Hit another button. No. Nope. No way to turn it off. Only way to turn off the automatic cruise control is to just tap the brakes. Funny, isn't it? So on the screen here, as you probably can't see because the sun is spot on there, we actually have a Bluetooth connection to the mobile phone. There's no Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. And I got a GPS system. GPS system works sort of okay. Can find my way around. Oh my gosh. Can you see the light on my face? Just shining in. Sun hitting this here screen. Just straight in my face. Incredibly annoying. We've even got some voice control. I've set it to Spanish because I'm in Spain. I'm driving around here in Spain. But let me just show you.
Dígame, por favor.
Vamos a Valencia.
Encuentra un resultado. ¿Partir ahora?
Siguiente página.
De acuerdo.
Número 3.
De acuerdo.
Okay, so it actually works. It found the destinations I asked it for, went through several pages of it. It's not bad for what it is, you know? It's useful. You can program and do everything without even having to touch the screen. Good stuff.
Lo siento, no le he entendido. Por favor, repítalo.
Sometimes it does get a bit in your face, but hey, that happens when you're a YouTuber trying to talk to the camera and not to this little ghost thingy. I have to say, the driving experience of this car, it just feels like 10 times more solid than the Dacia Spring. It's not jiggly in the same way, look. Well, I don't know if the cameras are actually stabilizing it, but it's not like the other one, which felt like it was literally falling apart when I did this. No, this seems like a quality product in comparison. See how the brakes do, so I'm doing 50 now. I'm just going to slam on the brakes. Oh, much better grip than on the Spring. Maybe because this weighs just a slight bit more, 250 kilos actually more. Well, that's not a slight bit. That's 25% more than the Spring. Wow. Let me try that again. On this, when I was driving the Spring, I did it from 60 kilometers an hour. Just going to go up to that, 60 kilometers an hour, and hit the brakes. Oh, there we got some ABS action, but yeah, this one stops much better than the Spring. The Spring just slid much more. Wow, big difference, massive difference. So driving dynamics in this car, if the Spring was a 2, this one is a 5. Much better. If you care about those kind of things. Right, so I've done exactly the same route, more or less the same driving time and style as with the Dacia Spring over there. And I've spent 12% of the battery to do 30 kilometers, or 30.1 actually. Conclusion, this car has a total range driving around the city of 250 kilometers. It's a little bit more, or 50 kilometers more actually, than the Dacia Spring. Can't really surprise us, because it's got a bigger battery, and apparently efficiency is somewhat similar. Now, I must admit, driving this car around feels like a much more solid experience, better quality product than the Dacia Spring over there. In fact, I am quite surprised how good this car is. There are some improvements, ergonomics and location of the screen, of course, it is far from perfect, but still, it feels like a much superior product to the Dacia Spring. So even though on paper these two cars seems extremely similar, once you get into them and try them, there's quite a big difference. I think if the Dacia Spring wants to compete with the Leapmotor T03, we need to see a lower price point, because this is the lowest price point car that are available. So price is like the one thing that we really are 100% interested in when selecting this kind of car. If the Dacia Spring was just 3,000 euros less expensive, it would be incredibly interesting. I hope you found this video interesting. We have plenty of other face-offs coming up, and we have our own electro exam format where we tell you just what you need to know in order to choose the right vehicle for you. You've been watching Totally Electric. I've been Lars. See you again soon with another video about another electric vehicle. Ciao.